think for me, gender influences everything in my day-to-day life
Mm-hmm.
because I don't pass, so it's constantly like in the back of my mind.
It's less on my mind now that I do pass, because for so long I was like addicted to toxic masculinity, and I was like, I have to do all of these things so that I can be a real man, whatever that means. You know, I still don't know. There is no answer to that question.
Yep.
But now I'm on kind of the other side of where I was when I first came out. Because I was like, oh, I'm not trans enough because I haven't transitioned. I'm not trans enough because I don't pass yet. And now there are times that I feel like I'm not trans enough because people just automatically will see me as cis. I don't know, I've kind of become more, I guess, playful is the word with my gender. Because now that I am feeling more congruent in my body, I feel like I'm able to express the feminine side that I like shoved down for so long. So I occasionally will wear like high heels, and like I just like the color blue, so I'll just put it on my nails sometimes. You know, it's not that deep to me, but I realize that there is a level of privilege that comes with realizing that it's not that deep.
I like to wear makeup. I like to wear dresses. I don't always because typically when I do, it means I pass less. They were just asking about like the trans experience and how I connect to masculinity and what I perceive masculinity as.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to explain because the person I was talking to was cis, and it's like, okay, my version of masculinity is so different from yours, and they wanted like a direct answer, and it's just the difference between having the privilege of knowing your direct answer and never having one. I hyperfeminized and hypersexualized myself a lot in high school. And I wore dresses like every day. I worked out like every day. I wore heels. I always had like my nails painted. I always curled my hair every day, did my makeup every day. Now exploring that femininity again is really difficult for me because it's associated with the opposite gender, because that's how it just worked in my brain for so long. So I'm just now starting to explore that other part of gender, but it's scary because I wear like crop tops and people are like, oh my god, you look so good in those, you should wear those more. And I'm like, but you don't, but what?
I think that for me, gender is mostly a tool that I use to be perceived by society in a way that is comfortable. I think that it's not really a necessary part of who I am as a person, but because of the world that we live in and because of the way people expect gender to be inherent, I have to use it in this certain way. And one of like the tools within my toolbox are my pronouns.
You can like walk into a room and clock sort of like homophobic or like I shouldn't interact with these people, I should interact with these people. But like, do you have a similar thing where like you can like you sort of know when a person is like safe, kind of that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I think it's referred to as like gaydar a lot of times. It's a survival tool is what I see it as. Just like noticing each other in spaces, that's something I try to get noticed in spaces sometimes, just so that people know, hey, like I'm safe, like you know, you can, if you need something, I'm a person that you can ask. And that's something that is sometimes why I present more femininely, so that I can, you know, show people like, hey, if you're getting hate crimed, I'll come help you out.
I could approach my mom and I'd be like, I really want this haircut, and it'd be like a short haircut, and she'd be like, no, don't cut your hair that short, you're gonna look like a guy. And I was like, oh, you're so right.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
Wouldn't that be horrible?
When I got it cut, I had the hairdresser was like, you're gonna look like a boy, don't worry, I can make it feminine. And I was like, great, that's exactly what I want.
When I first cut my hair short, I had no idea how to style it. I never had short hair before. And so I had like almost a universal experience in that, like a lot of like trans guys, when they cut their hair short for the first time, there's like a period of, what the fuck do I do with it? I just care that it's short. I just like the way it looks. It looks like shit, but it's the way I want it to look. Where I was like, my hair looks like absolute dog shit, but by God, it's short and I love it. Yeah.
There once was a girl named Nora who didn't know she had to shave her legs. When she was 13, a boy made fun of her mustache at the bus stop after school. That was the first time she felt shame of the hair on her body. She didn't know why the boys could run around with unshaved legs and arms and armpits and faces when the girls were shamed for the same. She came home crying as she used her mother's old razor to remove as much hair as she could and went to school the next day covered in band-aids. For years, Nora carried the scars and nicks of womanhood on her legs. She tried every cream, wax, pumice stone she could find to stay a woman. Nora wore dresses and too much makeup and made out with any man she could to prove she was woman enough. She tried not to contribute to manly things like sports or suits or speaking her mind, though she always wanted to run and get dirty and carry all the chairs when the teacher asked for big strong boys to help. She thought if she did girly things, then there was no way she could be anything but a woman. She was a woman. She had to be a woman. She was a woman. She was a woman. Right? Nora stopped shaving her legs 3 years ago, and she stopped being a woman a year after that. A small rebellion that started an entire riot. Nora has learned that the pronouns she, her, and hers shouldn't sting, though sometimes they still do. And after what has felt like years, Nora wanted to wear a dress with unshaved legs, and so they did.